Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is December 6th, and right now we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see BC, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana here. Taking a look at things. Look at this cold air across central Canada here. This is not cloud tops. This is the actual surface temperature showing up like this on the infrared satellite imagery. It's so cold. It's sliding down and staying east of the Rockies here, but that is helping to spawn a weak disturbance across Pacific Northwest, bringing some wintry mix here across northwest Washington, southwest BC, and places of eastern Washington. We'll bring a couple inches of snowfall today for the Cascades. But looking off to the west here, you can see our next frontal system approaching. This will roll through Wednesday night on in through Thursday morning, bring some nice mountain snows across Pacific Northwest, and then it looks like we're going to turn colder again, folks, in the extended. We'll take a look at some of those details. We're still trying to get model confidence at this point, but they're showing some interesting solutions at times. So jumping right into things here, Spokane, Thursday through Sunday, expect moderate impact systems moving across the area here. Several rounds of snow is possible. Nice graphic here from the National Weather Service Spokane. Slippery roads this morning. Watch out as that weekend pulse moves through. It doesn't take much precip to freeze on the road to ruin your day there. So give yourself an extra few minutes there. That was issued this morning by the Spokane National Weather Service. This is for Great Falls, Montana winter weather conditions out there as well. Reduced visibility, blowing snow, hazardous driving. This does include Idaho Panhandle and portions of western Montana as well, shown here on the Missoula National Weather Service, higher for the higher terrains, but watch out for that backcountry conditions and slick valley travel. Now this is for Billings, Montana here, and you can see blowing snow is possible, so heads up, you're traveling eastbound on I-90 here across this area, because once you get off on the east side of the Rockies here, it's pretty cold and dry, and the snow's going to be blowing around. Visibility can be reduced quite rapidly. That was issued this morning here. Now taking a look at what's going on here. This is the European. You can see that Arctic air moving down the east slopes of the Rockies here, bringing some snowfall for the Rocky Mountains, BC, Alberta, through Montana, and that includes a few inches here across the Cascades, maybe some wintry mix, like I said, for northwest Washington, southwest BC, eastern Washington as well. Now going on into Wednesday night, you see our frontal system approaching. Look at the mountain snows that it brings across the region. Rainy day Thursday for Puget Sound, Willamette Valley. Not overly rainy, but you'll notice the rain out there falling. Look at this frontal system drive all the way down across the Sierra Nevada here, bringing snows all the way across the higher terrain of eastern Oregon, Washington, the Rockies, Cascades. Nice storm system for mountain snow. Then you'll see a colder low here approaching the coastline there. It's going to bring some winds across the area as well, mainly the coastline here. But depending on the setup of this cold air and where this low pressure sets up, we could be flirting with some lowland snow at this point. More on that here later. Now taking a look at the timing of the winds with this first frontal system Wednesday night into Thursday. You can see the winds picking up Wednesday evening across the northwest interior strait of Georgia, the coastline here. They really get going here Wednesday night and Thursday morning, shown here. The frontal system driving down across the Washington, Oregon coast at this point. Some pretty good winds, gusts up over 50 miles per hour possible for the northwest interior. Some windy portions of Whidbey as possible, as well as the strait of Georgia. And just blustery for the Seattle, Portland metro, and really elsewhere except the higher terrain, some gusty winds, but nothing too crazy there. And then you can see our next frontal system come here, bringing some strong winds with it as well. But that low is probably going to change position here a few times over the next day as the models try to figure out just how cold we're going to get here across the Pacific Northwest. Now taking a look at 10-meter max wind gusts. So this is that Wednesday night, Thursday morning system. Gusts over 50 are possible for portions of the San Juan Strait of Georgia here, Washington, Oregon coast, some of the higher terrain. But nothing unlike what we're used to than that next system out here, which will change as well. Now looking at precipitation values, 24-hour precip. Let's go ahead and scroll ahead to Wednesday night and Thursday morning precipitation. So you can see some rain for Seattle, not an overly rainy day across the Puget Sound here. A little bit better for the Willamette Valley here on the latest Euro. Some nice amounts which will fall in the form of snow for the Cascades. Coastal range gets some nice rainfall as well. Snow in the higher elevations of the Vancouver Island and Olympics shown there. Now looking at temperatures, just wanted to kind of show you the temperature difference between some of the lowlands of western Washington, western Oregon here, and as you go on to the east. So as you go into the daytime, you can see Puget Sound, Willamette Valley, not too bad, into the low 40s. But as you go east still, you're still dealing with a lot of freezing temperatures here, and there's going to be some thawing and refreezing as we go through this week, and even some pretty cold temperatures here Wednesday morning across the Willamette Valley, and some of the outlying areas across the Puget Sound could drop below freezing as well. So heads up for that. Just wanted to show you the general temperature trend here as an overall look for public awareness. So right now we're looking at the UW GFS run here. You can see British Columbia, Washington, Oregon. Here's Wednesday and Thursday's frontal system. Very cold air east of the Rockies. Put this into motion here. Frontal system moves through the area. Some cooler air over the Gulf of Alaska now. Then our next system develops similar to what the European of last night's run had off the Oregon coast there. Some chillier air starts to make its way down into BC, as you can see here. Now as we go a little bit further, upper level low right off the coastline here, but watch what happens. We go from this morning's run to yesterday afternoon's run here. That's all the data we had on this morning's run. It's hot off the press, so we're just kind of playing it as we go. Now we're looking at last night's run. You can still see that cold air across British Columbia setting up here. Look at this deep low across the Gulf of Alaska here. Warm front extends all the way down towards the Oregon coast here. You see these southeast and easterly winds that would be coming across Oregon, Washington, as this cold air remains over British Columbia here. So this would be a marginal snowfall event for some lowland areas as well. And then we go a little bit into the future here more, and you can see this cold air get reinforced across British Columbia at the end of the GFS run here. This would be quite a dynamic system here, folks. This low pressure system around with this much cold air would be quite the scenario here, but this is way out into Fantasyland at this point. We're just kind of looking at plausible scenarios right now. Now taking a look at the European on the left, GFS on the right. This is yesterday afternoon's run. Model comparison time, 18,000 feet. Good agreement here with that first system moving down across the region, but then it drops down some colder air with it. Polar lobe sets up over the Pacific Northwest here. A little bit colder here actually on the European on this run here. This goes into Sunday morning here, and then you can see it starts to introduce some Pacific systems with some colder air still across British Columbia at this point. So kind of interesting. We're looking for some consistency. We have it a little bit. We have that cold air and then the potential for some more Pacific systems to move into the region here, but we're still trying to iron down those details before we start worrying about just who is going to be impacted by some lowland snow at this point. Now taking a look here, this is a 5,000 feet, 850 millibar temperature anomaly. European left, GFS on the right. So there goes that very cold air east of the Rockies on both models. You see it. Then here goes our cold front here. You can see it usher in that cooler air mass across the region here. A little bit colder initially on the GFS shown there. And you see upper level low kind of slide down the coast on the GFS here. European a bit further low with that. But then you can see the European kind of bring in some colder air a little bit earlier here as we go through Sunday afternoon shown. But the takeaway from this is that colder air setting up over British Columbia again. Once it gets there, then we have a couple ways we can get some of that into the region here and create some lowland snowfall potential. So let's go ahead and put that into motion again, and you kind of see these Pacific systems try to roll in. GFS stays colder longer here. So you can see some important differences in the model shown there. But again, we're still early in this. We're trying to iron down the details right now. Now looking at Seattle-Tacoma, you can see pretty much all the big windstorms are gone. And why is that? It's because the European has trended colder now as well. Not the big strong windstorms moving in off the Pacific so much as that cold air really shacks up over BC and the lows become a bit weaker. Now taking a look at the Seattle-Tacoma 10-day forecast, the European hinting at that colder potential here as we go through later next weekend towards next week. And this is bound to change back and forth a little bit here as we go over the next couple of days. We'll continue to monitor that. Looking here, GFS, purely fantasy at this point, but you can see the control run predicting quite a bit of snow, and a lot of the ensembles have measurable snow for SeaTac as we go through the extended here as well. But this is just fantasy. I should put a big fantasy banner across this thing here right now because we're just kind of taking a wild look out into the extended there. This is Pacific North American oscillation. Looks like we might start to come out of it here at about mid-December, but you know, that could be a ways away here. That's still over a week out there. We have some pretty active weather coming up here. Now, taking a look here, check this out. So had Trace yesterday. I called the National Weather Service Seattle. I called the observer at SeaTac. I got them coordinated, and they put in measurable snowfall for December 4th. So a nice little thing there. I'm glad the National Weather Service took that seriously and took the time to call them. Kudos to them. Kudos to the observer for admitting that they did have measurable snowfall, and it does make a difference. This goes into my records as a snow day now, and it's a little bit extra, and it kind of just gives a better idea of what happened during this day when we will look back at it historically. Now looking 6 to 10 day, you can see the above average signal across Pacific Northwest, 6 to 10 day temperature across the west, again below, and this is probably going to change here as we go on through the extended a bit more. If that continues to trend across British Columbia, we're probably going to get some higher signal here across Pacific Northwest as well. Now taking a look here, the Northwest Avalanche Center, I just wanted to show you guys something here really quick. Let's click on Snoqualmie Pass. You can see this, and it talks about what's going on across the area here. But if you go down a little bit further, you can talk about the skier triggered slab in the Alpental Valley caught and carried an individual for a short distance on December 3rd. No burial injuries were reported, but they have such good information on this site. So if you are a backcountry traveler and you are not looking at the site, you are really missing out. Good forecast discussions. I mean, it tells you what kind of clues to look for as far as avalanche concerns, all kinds of good stuff. So really nice website here, Northwest Avalanche Center shown. So anyway, yeah, here comes Wednesday night system here, and then this colder air that's going to move across the region here and try to set up on the Pacific Northwest again. We're going to have more clarity, of course, as we go day by day with this. So I may fly out to Hawaii tomorrow morning. If I do, I will still do a briefing at some point tomorrow. I will bring my mobile device. I'll still do a briefing. I'll check out the weather models because this is a very interesting pattern coming up through the extended here as we have the potential for some lowland snow again. It looks somewhat similar to the last pattern we just had in the fact that they will be marginal events coming across the region. But anyway, I will let you guys know tomorrow if I did go to Hawaii, and you'll notice the briefing will be a little bit different, but we'll still talk about what's potentially coming. I'll probably be out there 2 to 3 days to check out the lava flows. We've got some family out there as well. But anyway, yeah, so we'll do this again tomorrow. Thanks for all the new subscribers and new members. You know, I got the running border here, and I couldn't fit any more people on it. So I had to like narrow some of it down. I'm not trying to like, you know, call anybody out or anything like that, but I'm just putting the people who were signed up for the higher levels on there right now because I can't fit everybody on there yet. I'll try to figure out a different solution here as we go forward. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.